Good morning and welcome back. My name is Jonah Beecroft. In this tutorial, we will examine the Contributory Pension Scheme. Are you confused on how your retirement benefits are calculated under the Contributory Pension Scheme? Don't worry. In this tutorial, I will show you step by step on how your retirement benefits are calculated under the Contributory Pension Scheme with simple example. By the end of this section, you will know what you will expect when you retire. Without wasting time, let's dive in. What is Contributory Pension Scheme? A contributory pension scheme is a retirement plan where both the employer and the employee contribute certain fraction or certain percentage of the employee's salary into a retirement saving account, so that when the employee retire, the major thing that matter is the balance to the credit of the retirement saving account. Let us take it in detail. What is Contributory Pension Scheme? Contributory Pension Scheme is a retirement benefit system in which both the employee and employer contribute a percentage of the employee's monthly salary into a retirement saving account, RSA, which is managed by a trustee. And normally the trustee may be called a pension fund administrator or any other name as the case may be. Now, by law, the employee contributes certain percentage, say 10% of his or her salary as part of the retirement benefits. The employer, or on the other hand, contributes certain percentage of the employee's salary, monthly salary, as say 20% or more, as part of the employee's retirement benefits. So that if the employee contributes 10% and the employer contributes 20%, then a total of 30% will be contributed monthly and paid into the employee's retirement saving account. That is the concept of the Contributory Pension Scheme. Now, how did this thing work? How CPS payment work in retirement? Now, at retirement, your total contribution plus investment return will determine your retirement benefits. And that is to say that at retirement, the major thing that matters is the balance to the credit of your retirement saving accounts. That implies that the number of years you put in service is not relevant. The amount you earn annually is not relevant. Your monthly allowance, salary is not relevant. The only thing that is relevant when calculating retirement benefits on the Contributory Pension Scheme is the balance to the credit of the retirement saving account. Now, at the end, when you retire, you have two options. You may decide to have a lump sum, at times at 25% of the total balance in the retirement saving account. This lump sum is equivalent of gratuity in the defined benefit scheme. You may be given a particular, may be agreed on the pension scheme. The pension scheme may define a particular fraction of the total balance of the retirement saving account to be given to you as a lump sum. That lump sum is the equivalent of what the gratuity in defined benefit scheme. Now, the next one is that you also have a choice, two options here. After the lump sum deduction that will be paid to you once, you also have another option. One of the options is that you can decide with the pension fund administrator on a program withdrawal of the balance outstanding after removing the lump sum. Or you may decide to pull out some money from that PFA to purchase what is called annuity, life annuity. You have the choice. Either you decided to keep your money with the pension fund administrator and decide on the program withdrawal, or you use the balance and purchase what is called annuity. Now, if you are to choose program withdrawing, how does it work? How does program withdrawing work? So, let's continue. How does program withdrawing work? Yes, a program withdrawing means that the money will be still kept with the pension fund administrator. The money will not be pulled out there, and you decide how many years will the program withdrawing take place. Normally, talk about your life expectancy. In some cases, it is 18 years, and in other cases, it is 20 years. So let us find in detail how this program withdrawing look like. Program withdrawal, that is a PW, meaning the retiree leaves the balance of their retirement saving account with the pension fund administrator, who calculates a monthly or a periodic pension based on their balances, expected life expectancy, and investment return. That means the balances that is remaining after removing the lump sum will be calculated based on the expectant lifespan of the retiree and the investment return. That means that the PFA will still invest this money. This money will still be yielding interest with the PFA. Who is controlling this money? The money is being controlled by the pension fund administrator. Yes. Flexibility. If the retiree dies before exhausting the balance, the remaining balance is inherited by their next of kin, or beneficiary. For instance, when it is agreed that a program withdrawing will be for 20 years for the retiree, and eventually after 5 years the retiree dies, the balance will be inherited by the beneficiary of the employee. That is what is saying there. Now, there is risk. The risk there is that risk return. Pension amounts may change over time depending on investment return and recalculation by the pension fund administrator. So under program withdrawing, the money will be kept under the custody of the PFA, who in turn will invest this money and calculate the pension based on the expected life of the retiree and the investment return. Now let us go and take a look at the purchase of annuity from the balance from an insurance company. So the next choice is, if the retiree did not choose program withdrawal or program withdrawing, then the next choice left for him is to use the balance as standing to his retirement saving account to purchase what is called life annuity. What does it mean? The retiree takes a portion of the RSA balance, or all, uses it to buy an annuity from the life assurance company. The insurance company then pays the retiree a guaranteed pension, usually monthly, for life. Yes, if he purchases life annuity, then he will be paid for life. But there are different types of annuity. There are annuity that has fixed term, like 20 years, 30 years or so. And there's also annuity for life. If you purchase a life annuity of having a specified period, then it is just like a program withdrawal from the PFA. Now, if he does that, that means if he dies before the expiration of that expected lifespan, the remaining balance will also go back to his beneficiary or his next of kin. But if he had decided to buy a life annuity, that means a pension will be paid to him for life. That is to say, if he lives for the next 40 years, he will also be expected to get his pension. But what will happen is this: even if he dies after 5 years of entering into the contract of life annuity, the balance is forfeited. So that is the difference between annuity with a specified term and life annuity. On the fact on when you have a annuity with a specified term, then if you die before that term, your beneficiary will inherit the annuity until the expiration of the term. But if you choose a life annuity, if you stay up to 50 years after retirement, your pension is guaranteed. But if you die shortly after a life annuity, then you will forfeit everything. Nobody, no of your beneficiary or a next of kin will inherit anything. That is the difference between life annuity and annuity with a specified term. So it depends on the retiree. The one that he feel that is beneficial to him, he will choose. Those are the two major choices under the purchase of annuity. Now let's proceed. Now it's a risk. Provide certain and stability. The pension is guaranteed for life, but there is usually no inheritance after death, except where the annuity has a guarantee period clause. Now let's proceed. On this note, we want to take the summary. It's under the program withdrawing ongoing account with flexible inheritance balance, but payments may be fluctuated. The payment may fluctuate because of the investment return. When there is more investment return, the pension might increase slightly, and when there is a low investment return, the pension may decrease. That means the pension will not be stable because of the fluctuation of investment return. But under annuity, the pension is stable, guaranteed lifelong income, but no inheritance, and it is less flexibility. So that is the difference. Now we have an assignment in our tutorial, our series 2 tutorial on pension and gratuity. So let us go and attempt to solve that question. That question inculcated how to calculate pension and gratuity under the defined benefit scheme and also under the contributory pension scheme. So that question is the first question we are going to solve as we attempt to learn how to calculate a pension under the contributory pension scheme. And that question reads, Mr. Enwofo Uoma, who works as a director in Ministry of Social Security, Eshikoma State, Federal Republic of Ireland, retired on 31 or 31st December 2024 with a final monthly pay of $118 after serving for 35 years. The multiplier schedule for retirement benefit in Federal Republic of Ireland is as shown below. You are from 28 to 35 years. The gratuity multiplier, the pension multiplier is there. Then you are required to calculate the monthly pension of this retiree and the gratuity. And you are to do this computation under one, under the defined benefit scheme? You are going to answer this question as if Mr. Ijoma or the ministry is operating under a defined benefit scheme, and you also assume that the ministry is operating under the Contributory Pension Scheme. Say too, under Contributory Pension Scheme, if 45,750,250, then 84.84 is the balance of annual full-warmer retirement saving accounts, and 25% is allowed for lump sum withdrawal after retirement. The RSA holder expected to live for 20 more years after retirement. Now, to calculate the pension and gratuity under the defined benefit scheme, the relevant data in this question are: 1. The number of years is served. 2. The monthly salary, the last monthly salary, and the annual salary. So let's try to solve this question. Now we go. So what we expect now is we want to calculate pension and gratuity under the defined benefit scheme. What we have there is that is relevant is the monthly salary and the time spent. So gratuity is and pension under defined benefit scheme. Just as we have done before, the gratuity is calculated by the formula gratuity multiplier times the annual salary. So we are going to first forget the annual salary to be able to calculate what the gratuity. Okay, let's begin from pension. Pension is pension multiplier times final monthly salary. Pension multiplier in this case is 80%, and final times final monthly pay, and the final monthly pay in this case is 401,118. 80% times 401,118 is the same thing as 0.8 times 401,118. That means this retiree is going home with 80% of his monthly salary, which is 320,894.4. That is the pension, the monthly pension, as simple as ABC. Then the gratuity, we are going to also calculate the gratuity. As you know, gratuity, the formula for gratuity is gratuity multiplier times annual salary. Gratuity times annual salary. So first of all, we are going to find the annual salary by multiplying the salary by 12. Annual salary or annual pay is got 401,118 times 12. Now that will give us the annual world salary, which is 4,813,354. Now the gratuity therefore is 3.0 times the annual salary, which will give us approximately 14,440,248. That is what the gratuity. That is the gratuity. Any question? How did we get the multiplier? How do we get the multiplier? That is 80%, and the multiplier is gotten from the question. The multiplier is gotten from the question. They have spent 35 years, and the multiplier according to that table, and that for 35 years of service is 80%. That is the pension multiplier. And also the pension multiplier in that table, the gratuity multiplier in that table is 300%. And 300 is the same thing as 3.0, because 300% is 300 over 100. When you cancel out, it becomes 3.0. And that is how we got this 3.0, and that is used to multiply the annual salary that gives us what? The gratuity. That is to say, this retiree gratuity, the lump sum is 14,440,248, while the pension, he will be receiving pension monthly for his lifetime of 320,894.4. This pension is for life. Now let us go and see how we can calculate this under the Contributory Pension Scheme. One thing that is certain is that under the Contributory Pension Scheme, all the criteria we use here, the variable we use here, will not be used there. The only variable that matter, or the only information that matter in that data, is the balance to the credit of the retirement saving account and the the number of years the retiree is expected to live. Those are the things that we need to compute retirement benefit under the Contributory Pension Scheme. Let's go. Now, what we need here is a pension and gratuity under the Contributory Pension Scheme. That is CPS. Yeah, annual for warmer. RSA balance is 46,750,250,250.34. This is amount outstanding as the balance in his retirement saving account, and that is the major thing that we are going to use to compute the retirement benefits. Now, what we need to do? There is a lump sum in the question. The question says there is a lump sum, and they say there's a lump sum. Yes, there is a lump sum of 25%. Yes, lump sum of 25%. So we are going to calculate 25% of that RSA as the lump sum, which also is an equivalent of the gratuity. So let's go. So that is what we are going to first of all calculate. So we are going to take 25% of the balance of the retirement saving account as the lump sum. 25% lump sum withdrawal is 25% multiply by the balance, which will eventually give us 11,500 or so. 11,400 and what? 11,437,562.71. So that is what equivalent of the gratuity. Then pension balance after the lump sum is the retirement balance, the RSA balance minus the lump sum. And so we will have 34,312,000 as 688.13. So it is this lump sum now that WOMA we use as a program withdrawal. If you decide as a to use it as a program withdrawal, then it will remain with what the PFA. Now, one thing is certain: the question is silent on investment return. Since the question is silent on investment return, that means the program withdrawal will be based on the life expectancy, which is 34,312,688.13 divided by 240, which is going to be 142,000 at 296.533. Yes. The question did not make mention of investment return. And since the question is silent on investment return, what we need to do, or what we assume, is that it is a zero investment. It's going to just be program withdrawal. So what we need to do is to divide the balance by 20 years. In 20 years, we have 240 months. So the balance 3,312,688.13 divided by 240. There are 240 months in 20 years, and that will give you a monthly pension of 14296.533. That is a monthly pension. Now, let us try to compare the competition of pension under the defined benefit scheme and the competition of pension under the contributory pension scheme, so that we know how it affects us. Now, under the defined benefit scheme, you have a gratuity higher than the lump sum in the contributory pension scheme. Yes. And also under the defined benefit scheme, you have a monthly pension that is far higher than that of the contributory pension scheme. Not only that, the contribute under the defined benefit scheme, the pension is for life. Under the contributory pension scheme, the monthly pension is for only 20 years. pension under the defined benefit scheme is 220 plus. Under the contributory pension scheme is 142 plus. Now, gratuity. Under the defined benefit scheme, you have 14 million plus. And under the contributory pension scheme, the lump sum equivalent, we have 11 million plus. Now, the pension is for life under DSP, and the pension under the contributory pension scheme is for just 20 years. Who is benefiting? Under the DSP, the employee is benefiting. Then under the CPS, the employer is benefiting. Now, if you are an employer, which of this scheme will you choose? If you are an employer, if you own a company and you want to pay pension and gratuity, which of this scheme will you choose? If you are an employee and you want to work in a company and you discover that there are two types of, you discover a company that is having the CPS and another company operating under the DPS, which of them would you like to employ? Will you like to work? So these are the two tools that employers are used to determine the retirement benefit of employee. And the DSP, the defined benefit scheme, is more common with government, civil servant, public servant, big company that have the welfare of their employee at heart. Why the contributory pension scheme is not, common also in private organization, the private sector, sole proprietor, and they use it to control or determine the retirement benefit of workers. Now, on this note, we have been able to explain how retirement benefit in defined benefit scheme and contributory benefit scheme affect the workers, the employee, and how it also affects the employer. Now let us take one more example. One more example. There's one more example. And the question reads, Mr. Nzelegu Wabine was employed in the Ministry of Trade and Commerce on January 2nd, 1990 and retired on 31 December 2024. His last monthly salary was 405,254 naira. His retirement saving account balance is 76 million. As at the retirement date, if a lump sum of 25% is allowable on the RSA balance at retirement, and the remaining balance is used to purchase annuity in Pension Alliance Insurance Limited (PA) at an investment rate of 6% per annum for 20 years. Calculate the pension and gratuity of Nzelegu Wabine assuming Ministry of Trade and Commerce is operating 1. Under the defined benefit scheme, 2. Under the Contributory Pension Scheme. You should note that there is no one organization that will operate the two. But this question is coined to enable us be familiar with how calculation is done in both the defined benefit scheme and the contributory benefit pension scheme. And some other information are given that the gratuity multiplier is for Nzilego Wabine is 300%, while the pension multiplier is 80%. So let's dive in. Now, under the defined benefit scheme, the major thing that we need to compute the retirement benefit is the monthly salary, the number of service, the pension multiplier, and the gratuity multiplier. That is all. So let us solve it on this slide. Now you discover that the gratuity, the formula for the gratuity, as usual, is gratuity multiplier times annual salary. So the first thing we will do is to get the annual salary because we are not given the annual salary. The salary that was given to us is the monthly salary. Is the monthly salary that is given to us. The monthly salary, this is the monthly salary given to us. So we are going to compute it. We are going to compute the annual salary. And the annual salary is 405,254 naira times 12. That is what the annual salary. And that is what we are having here. Times 12. And the annual salary now becomes 4,863,048 naira. That is what the annual salary. Then the pension and then the gratuity now is the multiplier. The gratuity multiplier times or multiply the annual salary, which is 300% times multiply the annual salary. 300% multiply the what? Annual salary. 300% multiply the annual salary, which is 3 multiply the annual salary. Why did we use 3? We use 3 because 300% is 300 over 100 times the annual salary. And 300 over 100 is 3. That is 300 over 100, 0 cancelled to 0, so we are left with 3. So it becomes 3 times what? The annual salary, and that eventually gives us 14,589,144 naira as the gratuity for Mr. Nzilego Wabine. Now the pension is also simple to calculate. The pension is just the pension multiplier times the monthly salary. You can calculate the pension with the annual salary, but after getting the annual pension, you are going to divide it by 12 to give you the monthly salary. In this question, the pension multiplier is 80%. For somebody that has spent 35 years, is given in the question, the pension multiplier is given as 80%, while the gratuity multiplier is given as 300%. So the pension multiplier is given, and pension is just pension multiplier times the monthly what? Salary, and that will give us this. Pension multiplier times the monthly salary, which is sent in as 0.8 times the monthly salary, and which eventually give us 324,208 naira to kobo, and that is the monthly pension of Mr. a retiree, Mr. Nzelegu Wabine. Let's fire on. Now let us proceed to go and calculate the annuity. In our annuity calculation, we will come across a formula, annuity formula, and we should pay close attention to that formula, for that is the only difficult thing in the calculation of the pension. Since there was an investment, and investment is open in the question, so we are going to use what is called the annuity formula to be able to get the monthly pension. And the formula we are going to use is a complex formula, but it is very easy. After this tutorial, the formula will be very, very easy for you to calculate. The annuity formula is A, which is annual pension, is equals to the principal, which is P, over 1 minus open bracket 1 plus R close bracket raised to power negative n over n. That is the annuity formula, and we are going to learn how to solve question, how to resolve it with the annuity formula. Let's proceed. Now, do not forget that the only important information we need to compute the pension and the lump sum is the balance to the retirement saving accounts. Okay, let us correct this. This one is under what should be under the Contributory Pension Scheme. So let us correct it. Under the CPS, not under DPS, under the CPS. Now corrected. Good. So under the CPS, the lump sum is 25% times the balance to the retirement scheme, and which eventually will give us 11,500,000. Now, after removing the lump sum from the balance in the retirement saving account, we now have a balance of 34,500,000. And this is the balance we are going to use to purchase annuity from Pension Alliance Insurance Limited. So now we are going to take a look at the annuity formula. The annuity formula is what we are going to use to compute the pension. And the annuity formula is given by A, which is annuity, or the annual pension, is equals to P, which is the principal. The principal now is 34,500,000. A is equals to P over 1 minus open bracket 1 plus R bracket close raised to power minus n over r. Yes, over r. This formula is a sample of what we call a ladder fraction. In this question, P is the principal, which is 34,500,000. Then R is the rate of interest, which is 6%, and N is the number of years, which is what? 20 years. This is what we call the annuity formula. Now, to resolve this formula, to be able to solve this problem, we have to go back to what we learned in our primary school, what we call the acronym, the BODMAS. The BODMAS means that when you are given any mathematics that is having different operators, by operators I mean plus, minus, divide, and multiplication, and probably power, the first thing you will do is to do the one in the bracket first. After doing one in the bracket, then you do the other one. The other one, the O, represent order. Order means root or power. So that is what we are going to do first. So we are going to do the one in the bracket first. After the one that is in bracket, we resolve the one in order. That is the one that is having power or indices. That is what we are going to do. We shall come back to this formula later. So the formula in this question, P is equal to 34,500,000, R is 6%, and N is equal to 20 years. And by the time we put them in the formula, we replace the figure with the alphabet with formula. We have 34 million over 1 minus 1 plus 0.6 bracket raised to power minus 20 over what? 0.06. 0.06 now is a 6% interest rate. That is investment return. And when we do that, we have 34,500,000 over 11.47. And when that one is resolved with your calculator, you have the annual pension as 3,007,347. And to get the monthly pension, you divide the annual pension by 12. When you divide the annual pension by 12, you will now have the monthly pension. The monthly pension in this case now is 250,684. Now you have a question. Or let me ask you a question. How did we get 11.47? This 11.47 here, how did we get it? 11.47. How did we do the mathematics? Now, let us go back to the formula. Now, I was explaining that we are going to use what is called BODMAS to solve that question. It is important to know how we arrive at that 11.47. When we use BODMAS to solve that question, the B represents bracket, the O is order. And what is the meaning of order? Order means root or power. Root or power or exponent or indices. That is, if you are doing mathematics that comprises so many operators, do the one in the bracket first. After doing the one in the bracket first, then go and do the one that is either power or that is root. That is what that is doing. You will do those two, bracket and order, before you do division, before you do multiplication. And you must do division and multiplication before you do addition and subtraction. That is to say, a division and multiplication must be done before addition and subtraction. So let us go back and see how we arrive at that figure. Now, this is what happened there. Now, we have to first of all resolve this fraction. Because it is a ladder fraction, we begin with the bottom fraction. The bottom fraction is 1 minus into 1 divided by 0.606 bracket raised to power minus 20. This last two fraction is what we are going to do first. And in this fraction, the first thing we are going to do is to first of all solve the one in bracket. And the one that is in bracket is saying 1 plus 0.06. And 1 plus 0.06 is the same thing as 1.06. And after solving 1.06, we now raise it to power negative 20, because we have to do the power first before we do any other thing. And after raising it to power negative 20, before we minus whatever we have from 1. So we must do the bracket and do the order before we do subtraction. That is what it means. Now, let us go for further explanation. How we arrive at that is this also. Good. Now, P is equal to 34,500,000, N is equal to 20 years. Then R, which is rate of interest, is 6%, which is equal to 0.06. Now, the first thing we did there is the bracket. We have to remove the bracket first, which is B. After removing the bracket, we now come to this here. We remove the bracket first. We remove the bracket first here. We remove the bracket. That is the one we first of all solve. Now it now becomes 1.06. After plussing it, then after plussing it now, the next one is to use work on what? The power. The power is minus 20. So what we did there is 1 plus 1.06 raised to power minus 20. We use the calculator and resolve it first and get what we have there now is, after resolving this part, what we have there now is 0.331. 0.3318. It is after we got this 0.3318 before we now go and do subtraction or addition. So we use that and subtract it from 1 according to the formula. And when you subtract this figure from 1, what we have is this. What we have is this. This is where we are now. When you subtract it from 1, you are going to have 0.6882. And this is where you will now divide. You will now divide 0.6882 with the denominator of the fraction, which is 0.06. And when you divide it with your calculator, you will now have 11.47. So 11.47 is the answer to the last fraction. We begin from the beginning, the bottom fraction. We are working from the bottom fraction up. So the bottom fraction, which is the last two fractions, the answer is 11.47. And then we bring the numerator up and say 34,500,000 divided by 11.47. We have the annual pension as 3,007,847. And when we divide this by 12, we arrive at 250,000 plus. And that is now the monthly pension as you can see. The monthly pension is 250,654 naira. On this note, we have come to the conclusion of this tutorial series that